3 days had passed since the firestorm at the compound. The sky still held the faint stain of smoke, and the desert winds carried the scent of scorched rubber and oil. The reapers had returned to their hideout, an old train depot tucked away behind a canyon wall. But peace was a fragile thing, and it never lasted long in their world. Lila sat on the rooftop, legs swinging over the edge, watching the sun rise over the horizon. The light hit her face gently, but there was something different in her eyes now, something harder, sharper. Jack stepped up beside her, holding 2 mugs of coffee. He handed her one, and she took it without a word. "Can't sleep?" he asked. She shook her head. "I keep hearing him. Kane. In the smoke, in the walls, in my dreams." Jack sipped his coffee, his jaw tense. "He's dead. We saw to that." Lila glanced sideways. "Are you sure?" "Because I saw what was left, and there wasn't much. But there was something. And no body." Jax didn't answer. Downstairs, Rhino was oiling his chain whip, while Vega cleaned blood from her favorite switchblade. Doc patched up Chain's arm. He'd taken a bullet through the bicep, but still fought like a madman. "They're regrouping," Smokey said, eyes on a tablet screen. "Vultures scattered, but not broken. And someone's pulling them back together. Someone new, or maybe not so new." Chains leaned forward. "You mean Kane's got a ghost?" Smokey shrugged. "Let's just say the vultures don't fly without a leader. And this one calls himself Scythe." Rhino grunted. "Hell of a name." "Yeah," Doc muttered. "And bad news." Later that night, the Reapers gathered in the war room. A giant map lit the table, dotted with recent sightings, intercepted messages, and strange disappearances. Supply routes were being raided. Allies were going dark. Whole towns were falling off the grid. "He's cutting us off piece by piece," Vega said. "Divide and conquer," Jax replied. "Classic Kane playbook. Whoever this Scythe is, he learned from the best." Lila entered, clutching something in her hand. A patch. The crimson vulture, scorched and torn. "I found this in my pack," she said. "Someone put it there. After we got back." The room fell silent. Jax took the patch, studied it, then looked up. "They're not done with us. Not by a long shot." That night, while the others slept or patrolled the perimeter, Lila crept into the garage. Her eyes fell on an old bike, one that had once belonged to Jax's late brother, Ghost. It was black with silver fangs painted across the tank. She ran her fingers over the handle. Doc's voice came from behind her. "You thinking of riding?" "Not thinking," she said. "I'm ready." He stepped forward, offered her a set of keys. "Then you'd better learn fast, because next time, you won't just be cargo." She smiled. The next morning, the Reapers rolled out. They'd gotten word of a town in trouble, a place they'd once helped rebuild. Now it was under siege. Engines roared to life, and the sun rose behind them. Lila rode at the back, her hair tied up under a helmet too big for her. Her knuckles were white on the grips, but her eyes burned with something fierce. She wasn't just the girl with the bright eyes anymore. She was a Reaper. The desert sprawled out ahead of them, sun climbing like a slow-burning flame. Dust kicked up in their wake as the Reapers roared toward Emberfall, a town once full of life and loyalty. Now it was under siege, taken by forces no one had seen coming. They rolled in tight formation, leather jackets creaking, weapons secured. Lila's bike growled beneath her, a living thing she was still learning to control. Jax kept glancing at her in the rearview, pride and worry tugging at him in equal measure. As they approached the town, a column of black smoke rose from the main square. "Looks like we're late," Rhino said into the comms. "Not too late," Jax replied. "Let's clean house." Emberfall was chaos. Buildings burned. Townspeople ran or fought with anything they could hold. A new breed of vulture filled the streets, faces covered by dark gas masks, armor layered with barbed leather and scavenged steel. And above them all, a new banner, a scythe etched in bone white over blood red. Scythe had arrived. Jack signaled spread. Vega peeled left, Rhino and Chains broke right. Lila stuck close to Smokey, who barked out orders through gritted teeth while firing from the saddle. Jax charged straight down Main Street. Bullets ricocheted. Tires screamed. A vulture lunged at Lila with a nail-studded bat. She swerved, barely missing a wall, then turned her bike hard, drawing her sidearm with shaky fingers. She fired. The vulture dropped. Breathless, hands trembling, she looked at the body. "You did what you had to," Smokey said, pulling up beside her. She nodded once. "Keep moving." At the old church, Jax found the mayor's family barricaded in the cellar. They were scared but alive. He tossed them a radio and kept moving. In the bell tower, a Reaper scout reported strange sightings, figures watching from the rooftops, never engaging. "They're testing us," Jack said, "like Kane used to." "No," the scout whispered. "Worse. They don't run. They wait." Meanwhile, Lila found herself cornered near the auto yard, engine dead, out of ammo. A tall figure stepped from the shadows. Not a vulture, but something different. His jacket was untouched by dust. His mask was bone white. He didn't speak, just raised a finger, then pointed it at her. Before he could move, Vega shot him clean through the shoulder. "Get on," she shouted. Lila didn't hesitate. As they tore away, Lila looked back. The man was still standing, bleeding, smiling. The Reapers regrouped at the edge of town, Emberfall partially reclaimed. Fire still raged, but the worst had passed for now. Jax looked out over the wreckage. "This wasn't a battle," he said. "It was a message." Smokey passed him a bloodied note recovered from a vulture's corpse. It was written in sharp, precise strokes. "You took Kane from us. Now we take everything." Jack stared at the letter, then at Lila. "They're coming for her." Again, Rhino tightened his fists. Vega loaded a fresh mag chains, wiped blood from his cheek with a smile. Lila stood straighter. "Let them come," she said. "They think I'm still that girl. But I'm not. Not anymore." The wind howled across the broken streets of Emberfall as the Reapers vanished into the dusk, engines roaring, steel hearts burning. And somewhere, deep in a forgotten vault beneath the desert, Scythe watched their every move. The Reapers rode through the canyon at dusk, the sky painted in bruised purples and copper fire. No one spoke. The silence was a heavy thing, punctuated only by the low growl of engines and the metallic clinks of armor, shifting with each bump in the dirt path. Lila rode near the middle now. No longer a passenger. No longer hidden. Jax had given her one of Ghost's old jackets. It was a bit too big, but the Reaper emblem across the back fit her just fine. "Eyes up," Smokey said over the comm motion ahead. Could be vultures. They slowed as they approached the curve. The road narrowed, steep cliffs on one side, a drop into black on the other. Vega and Chains rode up to scout, weapons ready. Then came the sound, a low, pulsing hum. It grew louder. Then the canyon lit up with floodlights. "Ambush!" Jack shouted. Metal gates slammed down at both ends of the canyon. Trucks roared up from hidden ramps. Vultures in makeshift war rigs boxed them in. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning faces. In the middle of it all, a new rig rolled in black, plated in spikes and chrome, a throne of rust welded to the roof. And in that throne sat Scythe. Mask off. Face calm. Almost serene. "You should have stayed, Ghosts," he called. Jax revved his engine. "You should have stayed dead." Scythe raised a hand. Dozens of weapons were trained on them. "Lila," he said, "I came for you." Lila stepped forward. Helmet off. Eyes fierce. "I'm not yours. I never was." Scythe smiled. You were never his either. Cain only wanted power. I want legacy. And you, little Ember, are the spark. Without warning, Vega hurled a flash grenade. The canyon lit white. Chaos erupted. Jax's shotgun roared. Chains leapt off his bike, landing on a vulture rig, with twin machete spinning. Rhino rammed through a blockade like a bull in heat. Lila stayed low, weaving through the battle on her bike, like it was part of her. Bullets screamed past her head. One nicked her helmet, another grazed her leg, but she didn't stop. She was going for Scythe. The warlord stood atop his rig, sword in one hand, shotgun in the other. When she closed in, he aimed, and Jax rammed him with his bike. Scythe flew back, crashing into a pile of steel drums. He vanished in the cloud of dust. Lila, go! Jax barked. She didn't hesitate. She rode hard, past the broken rig, toward the collapsing gate. Rhino met her there, yanked the gate up with brute strength. One by one, the Reapers roared through. The canyon burned behind them. Hours later, they rested in the skeleton of an abandoned gas station. Doc tended to wounds. Smokey checked their dwindling supplies. Lila sat against a wall, staring into the fire. You okay? Vega asked. Lila nodded. He knows something about me. Something Cain didn't. I saw it in his eyes. Vega hesitated. You think he's telling the truth? That you're part of whatever he's building? Lila looked up. Her eyes gleamed in the firelight. I think I'm the end of it, not the beginning. Jack stepped over, dropped a map beside her. We're heading north. Mountains. There's an old airfield. Haven't used it in years, but it's defensible. If Scythe wants war, he'll get it. On our ground. Lila traced the path with her finger, then looked up. Let's finish what Cain started. But we ended our way. The Reapers nodded. In the night, the wind carried whispers, ghosts of the past, and something darker rising. The mountains rose like jagged teeth under the pale dawn. Snow dusted their peaks, though the world below still simmered in the heat of battle left behind. The Reapers climbed steadily, winding along switchbacks and half-frozen trails. The air was thinner here, biting and sharp. Lila clutched her jacket tighter as wind whipped through the valley. Her breath came in misty puffs, but her heart burned like a forge. The old airfield came into view late in the day, a wide, flat expanse surrounded by rusted hangars and a broken tower that leaned like a drunk against the sky. Faded letters spelled out a name long forgotten, but to them it was salvation. We dig in here, Jack said. We make it a fortress. Chains scouted the perimeter with Vega. Smokey helped Rhino get the generators online. Lila explored the control tower, flashlights sweeping across peeling paint and shattered glass. Something about the place made her skin prickle. Memories, maybe. Echoes. In a closet beneath the stairs, she found a wall of old photographs, pilots, engineers, families. People who had laughed and worked and lived here. She stared at one photo, a young girl with wide eyes, sitting on the shoulders of a man with a wild beard. Behind them, a motorcycle. The girl looked familiar. She looked like Lila. Night fell cold and quick. The Reapers sat around a steel drum fire. Chains passed a flask. Rhino sharpened a blade big enough to cleave through a truck. Doc stitched Smokey's arm while telling stories about his old crew. Lila leaned against Jax. What if he's right? She whispered. What if I'm connected to all this? Then we break the chain, Jax said. We end it with you, not through you. A noise stopped them cold. A chime. Soft. Hollow. Vega stood instantly. That was the old runway bell. Someone's triggering the gate sensors. They moved fast. Guns drawn, engines silent. Lila crept with the others toward the access point. There, at the edge of the airfield, stood a boy, maybe 16. Hands raised. No weapon, Don't shoot, he called. I'm one of you. I escaped. Jack stepped forward slowly. From where? From Scythe, the boy said. His voice cracked. He's not just building an army. He's building something else. Something alive. In the hangar later, the boy Miles told them what he'd seen. They call it the Forge, he said. Deep in the desert. Not a camp. Not a base. It's growing. Machinery fused with people. He's experimenting. Doc paled, like Kane did, but worse. He said Lila was the key, Miles added. Something about her blood, her memory. He's trying to awaken something. Lila stood up. Then I go to him. The hell you are, Smokey said. Not alone, Jack said firmly. But she's right. We can't wait for him to strike. We hit the Forge first. Rhino cracked his knuckles. Vega loaded her rifle. Chain smiled. About time. Lila walked to the edge of the hangar and looked into the night. Snowflakes danced on the wind like ash. She whispered to herself, "Let it end with me." The desert sprawled out before them, an endless sea of rust and heat shimmer. The Reapers rode at dawn, engines low and steady, the sun just a red slit on the horizon. Miles guided them through canyons and dust-choked flats, his knowledge of Scythe's network invaluable. He was skittish but loyal, and in his eyes burned the same fury Lila had seen in her own. They approached the Forge by twilight, hiding among ridges of broken rock. What they saw chilled them. The complex was enormous, pulsing towers, stitched metal domes, smokestacks belching steam and sparks. A living machine. Wires like veins, glowing with a sickly amber light, snaked out into the sand like the roots of a dying tree. Guards in bone armor moved with robotic precision. Drones floated silently overhead. This isn't a base, Doc said. It's a heart, pumping something unnatural. Chain spat. Time to stop the beat. They scouted until night fell completely. Then they moved. Rhino and Vega planted charges along the perimeter. Smokey hacked the surveillance towers. Chains and Miles slipped inside to mark exits. Lila and Jax went for the core. Inside, the Forge was worse. Screams echoed through chambers of fused flesh and steel. Human shapes embedded in walls. A twisted cathedral of suffering. Lila pressed on, jaw tight. In the central chamber, they found it. A throne. And on that throne, Scythe. You came, he said, voice echoing. Good. I need you close. Lila stepped forward. You built all this for me. Not for. Because of. You're not a girl. You're a weapon. Born from Kane's last betrayal. You have his blood. And hers. The only child to survive. The only one who matters. Jax raised his gun. You talk too much. Scythe laughed, and then the room changed. The walls peeled back to reveal pods, hundreds of them. Inside people. Or what used to be people. Now wired into machines. Breathing, twitching. They feed the Forge. Their memories power it. Their pain sustains it. And soon, Lila, yours will crown it. Lila shook her head. I'm not your power source. I'm your reckoning. She fired. The shot slammed into Scythe's shoulder. He didn't flinch. Instead, he lunged, blade out. Jax met him mid-swing. Sparks flew as steel met steel. Outside, explosions rocked the ground. Vega's charges lit the desert with fire. Lila ran to the throne console. Miles' voice crackled through the comm. There's a failsafe. Top panel, red core, smash it. She ripped open the panel and drove her knife into the pulsing center. The Forge screamed. The lights died. The machines groaned. The pods began to fail. Scythe roared, slamming Jax to the ground. Lila turned, bloodied, shaking, but her hand steady. This ends with me. And she shot him through the eye. Scythe collapsed. The Forge began to burn. The Reapers regrouped outside as dawn broke over the smoking ruins. Miles leaned against a busted drone, breathing hard. Vega carried Rhino, wounded but grinning, chains limp but upright. Doc patched Smokey's busted ribs. Jax held Lila's hand. "You okay?" he asked. Lila looked to the east, where a new sun was rising. "No," she said, "but I'm free." Behind them, the last machine shuddered and died. The war was over, but the road wasn't. The end.